Hey everybody, Daniel Gaines here. Just want to give a quick update. I haven't released certain things yet that I said I was going to because things have been delayed. There was a continuance for the trial. So, and then there's the motions that I have pending before the court that conveniently, again, Stuckmeyer refuses to address. He won't rule on the motions. He's trying to force it to where I have to appear in his courtroom because, well, calling him out pissed him off, so he wants me to appear so he can retaliate against me. Probably fine me or jail me or something. Judges are going to do what they're going to do, right? However, seeing as the whole thing's based on fraud, the court has no jurisdiction, I have no obligation to appear in his courtroom again. I can allow it to go that way, but instead, I haven't even filed a motion to dismiss based on the fraud, and they're too stupid to understand that might be for a reason. That'll be revealed in trial, don't worry. And don't worry, that all that information, audio recording, video of the trial and everything will be released publicly. However, since Stuckmeyer refuses to address the motion to disqualify himself, or even to take it as a motion to recuse, however he wants to do it, part of my delay in posting information is that I've been writing up the lawsuit. See, I'm done with corrupt fucking people. I don't have the tolerance or patience for it anymore. So I'm done. They're either going to comply with the law or they can eat a bag of fucking dicks. And that's the judge, the prosecutor, fucking everybody else. I don't give a fuck who it is. You're going to comply with the law or you won't be part of the case. Stuckmeyer refuses to disqualify himself or recuse himself, fine. I bet I don't step in his courtroom again. How? He'll be served. Next week, in fact. I'll have it filed Monday. So, he won't be on the case. Dugan will be removed from the case. He's included. Jason Emmons, their supervisor, even Miley, the judge's clerk, is going to be named in this lawsuit. Because, well, she had an obligation to speak up when all this misconduct and deprivation of rights took place, and she refused. Another issue with Stuckmeyer and Dugan is their intentional and malicious fraud before the court and deprivation of rights. See, they're lying, claiming, oh, we're not seeking jail time, for the specific purpose of denying counsel to people. Only for them to include jail as an option in jury instructions and for them to sentence people to jail. There's one guy who will be a witness in the lawsuit. I'm going to even speak to him about being a witness during the criminal case to testify as a witness to Stuckmeyer's intentional and malicious violation, deprivation of rights under color of law by closing the courtroom. And then 30 minutes later acknowledged that the Sixth Amendment requires the courtrooms to stay open. You really can't make this shit up. It's on audio recording. I'll probably release that this weekend, that little snippet from that recording, just so y'all can hear that I don't make false claims. Anyway, this person was denied counsel, the one that was kicked out of the courtroom, that I'll probably see about having testify during the trial, and will be part of the civil suit as a witness. But his hearing was yesterday, his trial. He was denied counsel for the same reason I was. Not seeking jail time. Jail time's not an option. Why is it that the judge sentenced him to 30 days in jail? Yeah, suspended sentence, so that means he's not going to go to jail unless he fucks up. But the fact that he was denied counsel because they weren't seeking jail time, just to sentence him to jail time, that's blatant and intentional. They're intentionally committing fraud before the court. They're intentionally misleading pro se litigants just for the explicit purpose of denying them counsel under false pretenses, just to turn around and do the very thing that allows them to deny you counsel, and that's no jail time. in my motion to disqualify Dugan, I put that in there because that's exactly what they're doing. And I now have a witness, and because court record is public record, I now have court documents to prove it. These people, like I said, even in the limited, now in this case, it hasn't really applied much. I haven't felt like maybe I'm wrong on this one, but in those instances, whenever in the past I have felt like maybe I am a bit delusional about all this, shit like this happens. They just give me more and more evidence. You really can't make this shit up. Judge Stuckmeyer feels he has the authority to ignore the Constitution, violate people's rights, engage in fraud before the courts, commit crimes from the bench, ignore state rules, engage in judicial misconduct, violate his judicial canons, and everything else. And like I said, he believes he can legally do all that. The problem is they're used to dealing with pro se litigants who don't know what misconduct is, or how it's defined or broken down, or don't know their rights, don't understand or know due process, don't know case law related to these issues. That's typical for pro se litigants to be unaware of. And that's why they do this shit in the municipal court in Jefferson County, Missouri. They do this shit intentionally because they know most pro se litigants don't know enough about the law to defend themselves adequately. So they make all these claims, violate people's rights with deliberate intent, malicious deliberate intent, and then chalk it up to, well, they waived their rights. No, they were forced to. Like Stuckmeyer still has to do the waiving of the rights in my case. I'm not signing that. I don't waive my rights. I was denied counsel because they lied, claiming they weren't seeking jail time and jail time wasn't an option, only for them to try and push for jail time. I don't waive my right to counsel. They denied it under false pretenses. And it's designed to affect the judicial machinery, the outcome of the case, and therefore makes it fraud before the court. And this is Judge Stuckmeyer doing this. Dude was an attorney for a bunch of years. He knows better. The good thing is, protective order hearing has a new judge assigned in the circuit court. So, when I show up for that hearing, I'll have a few motions with me. Motions to address void issues. And we'll see if the judge is going to comply with state rules and uphold my rights. Because if not, then this judge isn't going to hear the protective order issue. I'm going to disqualify them, and I'll cite Tinsley if I have to do so. She will be disqualified. If it comes to it, I will disqualify every fucking judge or sue every judge in Jefferson County if I have to, until the presiding judge gets involved. And why would I do that? Well, the beauty is if the presiding judge gets involved and she violates my rights at all or engages in any type of misconduct at all, it guarantees investigations, federal and likely state investigations into Jefferson County, especially the judiciary. Further, they won't be able to keep the courthouse out of the lawsuit because clearly if the presiding judge is doing this, she's failing to train every other judge. So there's a massive failure to train issue. But ultimately it's for the accountability, which would come in the form of the federal investigations. Again, I'd rather have accountability over everything else. So I'll be doing what I have to do. And if that means I have to disqualify every fucking judge in Jefferson County or sue them all, well, if they don't give me a reason, I can't, can I? See, the thing of it is, I don't want special treatment. I don't want preferential treatment. What I want is the fucking law complied with and my rights upheld. And that shouldn't be a difficult thing to ask, should it? Shouldn't be difficult at all. But yet, for some reason, with these people, might as well be asking them to castrate themselves or to give up their firstborn child or to sign over the rights of everything they own to you. Something stupid like that. Me wanting my rights upheld should not be a problem or an issue. These people, the law being applied to them the same way as they're applying it to me, should not be an issue. Hell, 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause says that it has to be applied to everybody equally. So the question still comes back to, since the courts keep saying the laws don't apply to them, Stuckmeyer literally said under no circumstances would they be held to account for any violations of law, rights, or anything else. Well, why am I not being held to the same standard then? Why are there different strokes for different folks? Why do the public servants have one set of rules and laws and us peasants have another? See, Stuckmeyer's got to be able to square all this shit. Because if for some reason he's stupid enough to stay on this case, all of this is getting said to the jury. Regardless of what judge is on this case, all of it's getting said to the jury. Hell, my first sentence out of my mouth to the jury, because the judge is going to sit there and lie to the jury, the prosecutor is going to lie to the jury, and they're doing it with intent. First fucking sentence out of my mouth is going to be, I can't stand a fucking liar. And I'm going to look dead at the judge and prosecutor when I say it. Very first thing out of my mouth in my opening. Promise. Be there, or wait till I post the audio of it, and you'll hear it clear as day. What are they going to do? Retaliate? Fine me? Throw me in jail? Say I'm not allowed to be honest to the jury? You think I don't have proof of every claim I make? I don't make false claims. I'm not a public servant. I don't lie. I can't stand a fucking liar. And like I said, fact check me on any claim I've made. Fact check me on anything I've said. I'll show you the proof. I'll give you the proof. See, it's funny. Nobody's calling me a liar. Even in the court documents, yeah, the federal suit was dismissed because my documents errors with my filing. However, not one time did any of the attorneys involved, including the attorney generals for Carl Yates, the two different ones, none of them, not a single attorney, claimed I was lying about anything or denied the allegations made. There was never even any denial of the allegations. Typically, you can look up court cases, look up the court documents and everything else. Typically, facts are contested or disputed. Why is it not a single thing? And I'm the only one giving any facts because I'm the only one with any evidence of what happened. So why is there no pushback against my claims? Why is nobody saying my claims are untrue? Why didn't they state that in the court documents? Why ain't none of these people publicly stated I'm wrong? I mean, publicly, yeah, I don't want to draw attention to it, so I can get that. Understandable even. Decent and valid excuse for them. However, the court documents, why didn't they push back against my claims there? Could it be because they know it's true? That'd be my bet. That'd be my guess. And that's also something that's going to be brought to the attention of the jury. How not a single one of my claims has been disputed in the more than a year that this has been going on. Oh yeah, that's right. A simple criminal trespass over a year since the citation was issued. And the court hearing next month, that ain't going to happen. Stuckmeyer will be served before then, so it's going to have to go to a new judge. And it's probably ultimately going to get thrown out because due to the fraud, the court has no jurisdiction. So, over a year's waste of time, just for a high probability that I end up getting it thrown out due to the fraud anyway. However, I won't file a motion to dismiss. Not at all. And why? Well, that I'll leave for the jury to hear. But I won't file a motion to dismiss. Sorry, I was cutting my grass, so I'm a bit hot and sweaty. But yeah, I won't file no motion to dismiss. I'm going to let this play out, and I'll address everything with the jury. Why? Because I don't really give a shit how the jury rules. I'm not in this for the jury. Yeah, I want a jury trial, just so that way I can expose everything on the record. In a bench trial, I'd be denied that opportunity. Stuckmeyer already proven that he'd hold a Star Chamber session and fucking do whatever he wants regardless of anything else. So with a jury, there's witnesses. Now, I don't care how they rule. This is all going to the federal circuit eventually. It's going to go through the state appellate courts, the state Supreme Court, and then to the federal courts. And that's where the end game for me is, in the federal circuit. Potentially the U.S. Supreme Court, but that's just going to be up to the courts, not for me. However, based on what I can prove, I don't think it goes that far. I don't think it makes it past to the trial, let alone beyond it. And if I'm wrong, cool. We'll see what the state appellate and state Supreme Court says. Because, wait till I release these audio recordings of what Stucky did. Yeah, that's what I call him now, Stucky. Not Stuckmeyer, he's Stucky. And I don't refer to him as judge. It's just Stuckmeyer. I have no respect for him for what he did. I won't use his title. That's a sign of respect, and I have no respect for the man anymore. Talked a good game initially, but he had already pulled some bullshit, so I saw right through it from the start. I'm not as gullible as they would like to believe, and I know far more than they want to believe. I told him 20 years I've been fucking mistreated by judges. The only treatment I've ever had by judges is mistreatment. Judges and attorneys. I made that clear to them. It's on audio recording more than one time I said it. Even one hearing where I mentioned it 3 different times. They should have fucking figured this out. I'm not your typical ignorant litigant. They bank on 3 things. Ignorance, intimidation, and fear. They bank on you being ignorant of the law, ignorant of your rights. Because while a lot of pro se litigants don't have experience with the justice system, so they don't fully understand or know these things. And they know this. If you prove that you're not one of those, and you one of those type of people, and you do know your stuff, they resort to intimidation. Well, either you go along, or we're going to do this, this, and this. And when that doesn't work, for those who don't work on, they rely on fear. Actually issuing fines or fees or sanctions, or actually holding you in contempt or jailing you and things of that sort. And it's 100% done to force compliance with their violation of your rights in the law. However, for those very few percent of the people who none of that works on, such as myself, we're the ones who cause problems for these people. We're the ones who expose things on the record. We're the ones who push it up to the higher courts. We're the ones who file lawsuits. It's very rare, but we're the ones who ultimately cause judges to get removed from the bench. Now, not everybody who experiences the misconduct will have positive results. It's hard to hold a judge to account. Even I acknowledge and admit that. However, most people don't record court hearings, so it's their word against the judge. I'm not most people. I'm actually going to be submitting a proposed order to Barbara Stacy, the presiding judge, and I'm going to seek to see if I can get Judge Stacy to sign an order giving me consent to record any court hearing I'm a party to, or a witness to, or anything else. If I'm involved in the hearing, I'm going to request permission to record. That way Stucky can't deny it, so that way he can try and hide his misconduct and criminal shit again, because their records come up missing or get altered or everything else. Mine are the only ones that are accurate. And it's like I've maintained from the start, I'm the only fucking person involved in all this who's going to tell you the truth. I don't claim to be a fucking angel. I'm not. I don't even claim to be the hero of my own story. I'm not. I know I'm an asshole. I know I could be a dick. I know when you violate my rights and violate the law, it triggers me. I'm very much aware of all this. I also have a very foul mouth, and I'm not afraid to use it. I cuss in general conversation. I can be talking to a pastor, and it's going to come out. Not on purpose. I'm trying, but it still comes out. It's how I speak. Period. It's just part of my vernacular and my vocabulary. It's part of the language I use. Adjectives, well, they're good adjectives to use in a lot of different settings. They apply, especially the F word, that applies to a lot of different contexts, and it doesn't even have to be cussing at a person, just cussing in general. I'm aware of this. I'm aware that that automatically makes people think certain things of you, just because your language. I know this. It's not like I go out of my way to try and be abrasive or offensive. Consider it a character flaw, if you will. However, I'm the most blunt and direct fucking person you'll ever meet. Period. I don't give a fuck. I will be honest and direct with you and not care. If that means I have to be the bad guy, well, I shouldn't have put myself in that situation, then should I have? It's really that simple. It's also what integrity and accountability is, and public servants in Jefferson County wouldn't fucking know what those things were if it smacked them in the face. The words, nothing else, just the words hit them in the face, because otherwise they like to claim I'm making threats. Stupid fucking idiots. But anyway, yeah, I don't try to make myself out to be something I'm not. I'm very open about who and what I am, and that won't change. The fact remains, though, I'm still the only one who's going to tell you the truth. I'm the only one with nothing to lose, nothing to hide. I ain't done nothing wrong. Maybe that's why I'm so willing to be so honest. Even if I do something wrong, I'll still be honest. I'll own up to it. But if that means I have to get in trouble, then so be it. Again, I shouldn't have put myself in that situation, should I? I'm 43 years old. This criminal trespass, I'll be 44 in February. This criminal trespass is the only thing on my criminal record. Weird, huh? And it's all manufactured based on fraud, which is how the court has no jurisdiction. Fraud vitiates everything. Look up State Rule 74.06. State Rule for Civil Procedure. You'll see its judgments and orders. And B4 of that rule, Section B, subsection 4, it states void orders. And what makes an order void? Well, one of the things is a complete absence or, well, lack of jurisdiction. And another one is fraud. Well, fraud automatically strips jurisdiction of any courts. So, yeah, anything that comes from this trial is already void because of the fraud. I don't even have to appear. If they have me arrested, issue a warrant, or anything else, it's automatic violation of my rights. All I have to do is show that the matter's fraudulent. The judge is also, Stucky's also allowing prosecution to withhold exculpatory evidence with intent, malicious intent. And they're caught. See, in the audio recording, you'll clearly hear Dugan state that if I want the video of the special session board meeting to be brought in and admitted as evidence, I had to include it myself. The problem with that is during that special session, I straight accuse the board of allowing the property to be publicly accessible by allowing the public to use the track or anything else at any time, day or night, even during school hours. One of the board members does this when I make that comment. Whenever I said it's publicly accessible property, not private property, the same board member does this as well. Their claim that it's private property went out the window with that. And the judge is allowing the prosecution to withhold that? Really? You're intentionally allowing the prosecution to withhold exculpatory evidence, blatantly violating people's 5th and 14th Amendment rights? Really, Stucky? That's the game you want to play? And you think I don't have audio recordings to prove this? You know I was recording. Your clerk even mentioned it, and you said, I'm not saying nothing I'm worried about. Bet you're regretting that thought, ain't you? However, I won't stop recording. Even if they tell me not to, I will be. And that's exactly why I will. Because of the misconduct. See, I'm smart enough to know what public servants do because it's what they always do. I'm smart enough to know that they're going to lie and falsify things because it's what they always do. I'm smart enough to understand that they're intentionally going to try and violate your rights repeatedly because it's what they always do. None of this is new. None of it. Been dealing with this shit for 20 years. You think I don't know all this already? Go look at the fucking older videos, you idiots. Yeah, ignore my language. Ignore me snapping on fucking judges, cussing them out on the record in open court. Ignore that. Look at the video where I backed Commissioner Terry Farmer into a corner so fucking thoroughly with case law that she had to appeal to the 3 attorneys begging, can anybody cite a single thing to get around what he just said? Look at the Facebook Live videos of the trial where they cry about the recordings and the judge says he doesn't think he has the authority to stop me anyway, to which I just do this. And he looks dead at me. The judge did, through the Zoom session window thing at the top. But that same judge during that same trial, you'll also see him pull out his Black's Law Dictionary whenever I get to use in Latin. You'll also see him pull out his Barbary Legal Handbook whenever I say something about the law. You'll see both times he pulls them out, looks at what I said, and then just quietly puts them away and never says a fucking word. Why? Because I was right. Look at how much case law is in those court hearings. Look at how much is in the documents that I show. Look at how many legal codes I cited. And is Stucky going to try to tell me or imply that I don't know how to use case law when he's the one that, based on what he said, doesn't know how? He knows how. He's just trying to manipulate things to interfere with with my ability to defend myself in this case. It's fraud before the court, but still take what he said. Case law only applies if every one of the facts are identical. Be the only judge ever to tell me I don't know how to use case law. Even the federal fucking judge couldn't tell me I didn't know how to use case law. Let's be real. Go look at that shit. You'll see. I'm not your typical pro se litigant. I'm an asshole. But I'm right. That's the thing. I know what I can and can't do. I know what I can and can't get away with. I know where the limits are in the law because I know what the case law says because I fucking read the cases. I guarantee you I've read more case law than Stucky's ever fucking even seen a day in his life. I can take any 5-year period over the last 20 years and promise I've read more case law during that 5-year span alone than Stucky's dealt with in his entire fucking legal career. And that includes his time as an attorney, judge, and everything else. And that's all the cases he's been a part of, combined with all the cases he's ever looked at. Guarantee any 5-year section I've read more than he has. And I don't say that to try and sound conceited. I don't say that to try and be arrogant or embarrass anybody. But most attorneys and judges only rely on a few set cases. They're supposed to continue their education every year, but very few actually do. Judges are notorious for not. So I guarantee you, Stucky, I'd be able to fucking show if I wanted to look into the records and would get access, I'd be able to prove he doesn't keep up with his education either. I could be wrong, so I can't speak with any concrete certainty, but I'm willing to bet if I could get access to those records, I'd be able to prove what I'm saying is true. And it's not against him. I could pick any random judge anywhere in the country, even a judge I've never heard of before, and it'd probably be true for them as well. That's just common standard operating procedure, if you will, for these people. However, I don't stop reading cases. It's just become such a big part of who I am anymore that I still read cases. I still read a court case or two a day. Some days it's more. I still watch a lot of legal information. I follow and watch a lot of different lawyers on Facebook. I watch YouTube rather. I watch videos on YouTube with channels that actually show case law and legal codes and things like that. I don't use AI. I don't just take people's word for things. Hell, even if I'm telling somebody to look into case law or to use case law or something else, I even encourage people to fact check everything I tell them. Don't ever trust somebody else's word. Fact check it. Look into it. Pull up the case law. Read it for yourself. Do the work on your own. It's just, I'll give you some cases to start with. Sure, no problem. Outside of that, you got to do the work. You got to actually make sure it's all usable and applicable to your case. So, I'm not just one to blindly accept things as real. No, I actually put in the work. I've read more than 15,000 pieces of case law in my life. And when I say that, I mean entire cases, from the original fucking document to its conclusion, whether it be in the state or the federal courts, whether it be the federal district, the federal appellate circuit, or even the U.S. Supreme Court. I read all the way through that. However, I also read a few different Supreme Court cases daily, just what their opinion is on the case. I don't read full case files with every case, although more than 15,000 I have read entire case files. But in total, probably more than 25,000 cases I've looked into over the last 20 years. It's been a little over 20 years, almost 21 in fact, but doesn't change anything. I'm an avid reader, have been since I was young, read Pet Sematary in its entirety before I even started kindergarten. Parents were avid readers. I read over 10,000 words a minute, but it's my ability to retain and understand that really sets me apart from most people. There's plenty of people who can speed read, plenty of people who enjoy reading and are avid readers, plenty of people who enjoy learning like I do, but not everybody can read something once and recite it to you even years later without ever looking at it again. Not many people understand things from even the simplest of explanations without any actual research having to go into things. More research just means more knowledge and more depth of knowledge. And to confirm that, you can ask Carl Yates. If he's going to be honest, because I'm sure by this point he well remembers who I am, but if he's going to be honest, he'd even have to tell you my ability to understand the law, even at the time he knew me more than 10 years ago, was incredibly high for somebody who wasn't studying law. Judge Jimmy Edwards will tell you the same thing. That's why he offered to do anything he could to get me to go to law school. His alma mater, in fact, means the school he went to, essentially. I mean, judges don't offer to do whatever it takes to get people into law school if they'd be willing to go. Judges don't write letters of recommendation. I'm an exception to those things and can prove it. That's the beauty of it. I can prove anything I say. So, but yeah, if these people would be honest, they'd know they shouldn't have never fucked with me. They should have just stopped violating the students' rights and let it go. And there wouldn't have been any issue. But now, no, they all want to risk their careers engaging in fraud and deprivation of rights and everything else. And they think people are just too stupid to know it. So, I pray Stucky does the same shit to me that he tried to do to the guy that he did it to yesterday. I pray he's that ignorant. Not that he'll be on the case, but let's say for some reason he still is. I pray he's stupid enough to do the same things. Because it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. I promise. Like I said, first sentence out of my mouth to the jury is going to be, during my opening statement even, I can't stand a fucking liar, and I'm going to look dead at Dugan and Stucky. That's going to cause the jury to start paying attention to things a bit better than what they would have otherwise. Be careful with the bed you make. Sometimes you got to lay in it. And Stucky, Dugan, Miley, Emmons, Kunzel, however your last name said, again, it's not I'm not trying to be disrespectful if I'm getting the name wrong. I really don't know how it's said. I could be wrong, and if I am, I'll apologize, and I'll try to get it right once I learn what it is. Until then, there ain't shit I can do. I don't know what the hell her name is. Jalissa, although she doesn't go by that, but that's why I try not to say just that. Either way, all these people, they were given advance notice, and now they're going to be sued as a result. They made their choice. They made their bed. I'm just the one who's going to make them lie in it. I'm just the one who knows what they did and can articulate it, and can even cite specific pages and codes of conduct and everything else. You can only tell them so many times. Their smartest bet would have been to do like I asked from the start. Just uphold the law, protect my rights. That's all I ask. And they're required to do those things anyway. So, like, again, it's not a hard ask. It shouldn't be a difficult issue. They're required. Even the prosecutor's required to do both. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I pray that they're stupid enough to try the same shit. Because I promise it's going to bite them in the ass. If it doesn't beforehand anyway. Like I said, this lawsuit and the upcoming protective order hearing between the two, good chance things get dealt with before it ever goes to court in the municipal court again anyway. May not, but there's a chance. We'll see. And on that, y'all have a good one. Peace.